that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Oh, there we go. I've got myself down in a little pocket. No, bring myself up to the right size. I'll get there eventually. Find the right button. There we go. Look, magic when you find the right button. How are you, folks? Sorry about last night. Life gets in the way occasionally and shit happens. That's how it works. I'm sorry. If you were hanging out waiting for a show, I did have one prepared. It's just that some other things happened. I was on the phone a great deal. And it was an important thing, so I had to sort of hang on. So unfortunately, we missed a show last night. I'll try and make that one up to you. First of all, I guess let's start in the house. Who was first in tonight? Michelle, the lovely Michelle Bradley-Smith. Now, Michelle, right at the top, I was talking to Rachel today. And as everybody knows in the chat, Rachel's been feeling a little bit de-energized of late. And she went to a acupuncturist today and is looking for a little bit of help understanding what the acupuncturist was trying to do, I think. I'm not sure that the person poking the needles in was as full and forthcoming with explanations of that process as could have been. So if anybody knows much about acupuncture, and particularly the yin and yang side, which this person doing the needle puncturing seemed to be referring to a lot but wasn't explaining a great deal, Rachel would be very keen on learning more about it. So reach out to me. I'll put you in contact with Rachel if you know much about acupuncture. If you know an acupuncturist in Tasmania somewhere, particularly in the southern regions, she might be interested in giving it another go. I'm not quite sure. So we'll just wait and see. But she did mention you, Michelle, and because you're into a few healing things too. I know Sunflower is into a few of those things, and I know, well, a great many of you are into various different healing forms. So if you've got a bit of information, you might be able to share with Rachel, who's just feeling just a bit flat at the moment. She needs an energy lift, and we'll get into what might be draining that energy a little later in tonight's show. The gorgeous Sandy K, 40 degrees at the Donkey Sanctuary today. 37.7 half an hour ago. So it's probably 36 now if you're lucky. I'm hopeful that you're not suffering too badly in the heat. I know the donkeys probably don't mind the heat too much. They won't get wet feet. But you've still got to feed them. You've still got to look after them. You've still got to do everything else. And, of course, that means it takes a little bit. So if you would like to help, we would love to help too. And we can do that with our charity donations through our lottery. Now, it's only $2 for a ticket. You stand to win $750. Or, if you don't win that, the second name out gets 10 Byron Bobs, 10 or an ounce of silver, if you like, in a Byron Bob holder, the Voice of Freedom Byron Bob holder. So if you have a spare $2, and I know times are tough. I know it's tough everywhere. So understand, if you can buy one, great. If you can't buy one, okay, no worries. If you can buy 5, that'd be awesome. I think we've got less than 130 left in this draw, and I'm desperate to get to a point where we're giving away some gold. So Vince and I had a half-hearted conversation this morning, and at this point, I think we've decided we're going to throw a gram of gold up for the next lottery. So we need to get through this one first. As I say, there's only there's under 130 tickets left, I think, from memory. And if you could help us by buying one for $2, that would be absolutely awesome. Merch.vofhq.com is the place to go, and we will quite happily send off well, not enough money, unfortunately, but we'll send off some money to Sandy, because she's got 3 more hungry mouths coming in next week. That'll make 108 donkeys in care. And, of course, they've only just gone through their most recent hoof cleaning and teeth trimming and all those other good things. So if you can help us and help the Donkey Sanctuary as well, it would be greatly appreciated. 108 hungry mouths, not to mention Barry, who's a really big bloke. All right, he eats a lot of steak. bit rude. Sorry, Baz. Love you, mate. Who else is in the house today? Stu's in the house. Good to have you in, mate. I hope you're going well. On Red Alert, yes, we shall talk about the new Australian CDC very soon. How interesting that's going to be. Toxics in the house. Aussie Sue, God love you. And there will be please remember to like and subscribe, folks, because without it, our algorithms get nothing. We are still, even though they say they've loosened things up a bit, it'll be interesting because tonight we're going to be talking a lot about jab injury, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not the show stays on. Previously, it wouldn't. So let's see what happens. I may wind up with a strike. I may wind up getting kicked off for a week. So we'll see what happens. We'll put YouTube to the test tonight, folks, I can tell you. So please remember to like, share, and hit the thumbs up if you can, because it really does help us with the algorithm. Peter Grace, the lovely man from Pinaroo himself. Yes, we should talk about the dip. So Monday night, I think I alluded to the fact that I expected the price to stay down or even go down a little bit. That's exactly what's happened. I think at the moment we are looking at about $74.70, the spot price of silver, and gold is well down on its highs of only a week ago. It's now $6,309.54 per ounce. So it's still a good lift on what it has been. This isn't what you'd call a huge drop, but we were expecting this drop. And this is the time to buy, folks. Keep an eye on that price. It might drop a little more overnight, and tomorrow morning you might find we're closer to $72 or even $71 an ounce. It may go below 70. I'm not sure that it will, because there is an awful lot of upward pressure. At the moment, huge amounts of money, huge amounts of high finance trade is going on from Europe. What they are trying to do is suppress the demand for silver, because that's the thing. At the moment, you've seen the videos, people lined up down city blocks waiting to get into a bullion dealer, I'm guessing to buy, some might be selling, but mostly to buy gold, silver, and other precious metals. There's a reason for that, because people who've been following this for a lot longer than me, and Pete's one of them, Peter Grace is one of them, they get an idea for the swings and the roundabouts and slides and all that sort of stuff that happens in this market. However, this market is almost a virgin market. The price of silver has never been to this height before. And given the demand for it in a variety of areas, meaning industrial demand as well as stacker demand. Stacker demand has gone through the roof in the last 2 months, just through the roof. That's why if you're turning up at Ainsley Bullion at any one of their offices in Melbourne, Brisbane, or the Gold Coast, you're likely to find many other people in there at the moment, because they are seeing the value in buying some precious metal. Now, if you'd taken our advice maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, you would have been paying less than $60 for an ounce. You could have been making $10, $12, $15, $16 an ounce on that. Now, you've got to sell it to make that money, and the idea of stacking is to keep it, because we think this is going to go higher. However, there are financial demands made on us all, so occasionally you've got to go and cash some of that in, and if that is you, then God love you. It's a little sad, particularly at the moment. I wouldn't be cashing it right now. I'd be waiting until the price goes up again, and it will go up, and I would expect it to go up. Well, I think Pete said something about them testing the new $50 floor in the ounce of silver market. I'm not sure that is the case. I don't think they need to test it when it's as strong as it is. The biggest impact on the gold and silver market at the moment is this money that seems to be coming out of Europe and is being used to push down that price again, push down that gold and silver price again. Silver particularly low, because the physical demand for silver is through the roof, and it's not changing anytime soon. They're not digging any more of it up this year than they projected. They don't appear to be opening any more silver mines, although there is talk that there might be 2 new silver mines by the end of next year in Australia. And if that is the case, great. I suggest that it'll be a reasonable earn. And that's the only reason they'd be thinking about going back into places, particularly in Western New South Wales, I think. So watch this spot. There's going to be more coming out through there. What else is going on in the chat here tonight? What the ho, 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 indeed. Well, yo, ho, ho, me hearties. If you're feeling the urge for a break, and God knows I need a break, but I'm not very good on breaks, so that's why I don't take them terribly often. But I am going to take one in May for all of 4 days. And when I say a break, I don't really think it'll be a break, because I'm going to be spending it with as many of you as would like to join us. We're going on a cruise, folks, a 4-day cruise out of Brisbane. So I understand if you're not in the Brisbane area, then it takes a little more effort and a little more cash to get to Brisbane to catch the boat. But we would love to see you on that boat for 4 days. It's leaving the 4th of May, back on the 8th, Brisbane to Airlie Beach. You get a day on the beach at Airlie, or if you decide not to stay on the beach, you can jump on one of the tourist boats and head out to the islands, whether that be Hamilton Island, or you want to go to Whitehaven Beach, or you want to go and check out some coral atolls, or you just want to go and dive on the reef. All of that can be done on that middle day, if you like, at Airlie Beach. And then we cruise back day and a night back to Brisbane. So if you'd like to be part of that, then you can call Annette on that number there, 1300 385 625. But make sure you dial that extension number. Otherwise, you'll get some woman who doesn't know anything about the Voice of Freedom and what we're planning. So 49632 is her extension number. If you talk to Annette, say, hey, listen, we'd be keen. All you need to do is put down a deposit and on your room, and that's sort of what I did. I think the deposit was $150, and I worked it out between now and when it has to be paid, which is, I think, from memory, the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. I think it's $56 a week to pay it off. So I know times are tough. But if you can manage it, we would love to have you on that cruise. God, we would love to have you. I'm still desperately trying to convince Vince. He has a problem with seasickness. I do have a couple of ideas on how to help him with that. It's whether or not he is willing to be helped on it is a whole different matter. He's had some very bad experiences on water, apparently, poor Vince. And, well, I feel for him. But we would love to have you. And it'll be a beautiful 4 days to cruise on the boat. It'll be that time of year where it won't be too hot. We will be cruising into the area where it will be a little warmer still as we head into far north Queensland off Airlie. But you'll be on the water. It'll be cool. It'll be nice. And we'll just have a ball. Hopefully there'll be some good comedians on board, a bit of music. And if there isn't a bit of music, then we might create some, because I know a couple of people who want to come who are musically inclined. So look out. We could be having a bit of faith. Who else is in the room? Dusty, nice to have you, mate. I hope things are going well in your part of the world. Melbourne's being blown around at the moment, eh? Trees down, power flickering on and off. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, I heard that Melbourne was suffering a bit today. And Gippsland too. I think Michelle posted that she's got gale force winds down her end of the world too. So I want to say you're in Gippsland, Michelle. I might have that wrong. But blowing right across Victoria by the sounds of it. And there is a whole heap of shit blowing through Victoria at the moment, which we will get into very shortly. Deb's asking the question, has everyone got a ticket in the lottery? Have you got a ticket in the lottery? Go there and get it right now. merch.vofhq.com. Thank you very much, Deb, for reminding me again. Tony, you're working with a place with miniature ponies. That's got to be a bit cute. Take some photos, mate. Love to see those. Katrina, my Lord. Guess what turned up today? Folks, you probably can't see that terribly well. Katrina and her wonderful husband, Justin, who, can I tell you, is a phenomenal photographer, have sent me this truly magnificent and very thick coffee table book with some of my favorite things inside it. Hot rods. Now, this isn't doing justice. I will go and take some photos of the photos and put them up so that you can get a better look. But to the gentlemen that own these vehicles, or gentlemen and ladies that own these vehicles, my God, congratulations and thank you for maintaining the history. There are so many. I mean, I've literally only browsed through the book, but there are stories here. Roger and Sandra Orbell, they've got a 32 Ford, a four-door sedan, absolute stunner, and there's a whole story about it and the work that went into putting it together. If you like hot rods, folks, reach out to me and I will put you in contact. And if you like hot rods, you're going to love this book. It's an ideal Christmas present. In fact, that's why Katrina sent it to me. Ideal Christmas present. So thank you very much, Katrina, and to Justin too. And my God, congratulate him on that work. It is spectacular. So if you like hot rods, folks, the book is called Chrome Bumpers and Round Headlights. Chrome Bumpers and Round Headlights, Volume 1. It's about an inch, bit over an inch thick, and it is top quality. Top quality. I actually have it personally. Oh, you can't see it, but maybe you can't. Oh, personally signed to me as well. So thank you to both of you. Straight to the pool room, as they say. But I'll have to have a page open every other day, I guess, to just ogle at some of those cars. I love hot rods, folks. Never had one, always been an aim to have one, never have the money to get one. But, God, do love them. Do love them. So thank you very much for sending that through, Katrina. I really appreciate it. And I hope you and Rachel get an opportunity to catch up in the not too distant future. Strong winds in Melbourne, you said, Tony. Yeah. And yeah, pleased I like it. I don't just like it, Katrina. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Oh, hang on, Sunflower. You wonder if your uncle's in the book. He travels to all the hot rod contests with his Ford. Well, maybe you better send me the details and I'll have a look through the book for you. And if that's the case, well, see what we can do. I hope you and Rick are well, Sunflower. God love you. And there's two people I would love to see come on the cruise, but I don't think will be possible for varying reasons. Rick being a bit crook is one of them. But I would love to see you guys there. I'd love to see Peter Grace there, but it might be in the middle of planting or pulling or patting or whatever on the farm. So it'd be lovely to see you and the other half on that boat, mate. We'd love to see you there. I have rung a few people and extended a bit of an invitation. We'll see. There could be a few interesting guests coming along, can I just say. You might have one or two surprises. Fingers crossed. Nothing guaranteed just yet. It's early days. G'day, Linda. Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying your Byron Bobs. And Andrew, hope you're good. Jinder Lee, been a while, buddy. Good to see you back in the house. You've sent me the pony photo probably to my phone. I'll have to get it on for tomorrow night. So thanks, Tony. All right. I think I'm at the bottom of the chat. Let's get into it and see what's going on in the world today. Australia. God, we are so lucky, aren't we? We are known as the lucky country, or at least we used to be. And then through a succession of criminal infestation in government, we are now, well, not so lucky. But we are being Americanized, slowly but surely. We are about to get, ladies and gentlemen, our very own CDC. The Australian government has introduced legislation to deliver on its commitment to establish an independent Australian Centre for Disease Control. Now, the CDC will be an independent statutory agency, sounds like the TGA to me, that brings together critical information and experts to protect Australia from disease and other threats to public health. So the question is, what's the TGA doing then? We've got two authorities, do we? Or are they going to get rid of the TGA because, for a variety of reasons, mainly they've been caught lying? The former head of the TGA was caught lying by Rennick and Roberts in the Senate estimates. And he wound up resigning from the CDC, now works for a biosecurity company, probably making $300,000 or $500,000 or $700,000 a year. Horrible human being, should be dragged out and publicly flogged in my estimation, but we will wait and see. There is moves afoot. So apparently the Australian CDC will provide high-quality analysis and advice on public health risks to government and the Australian community. That means they're going to tell you what to do. That simple. And guess when it's going to be operational from? January the 1st next year. The TGA will morph out after that. Why? Well, because there's been quite a lot of very interesting new findings. And the TGA, their DANE, which is the directory of, oh God, I've got to figure it out and try and read it again. Hang on. The database of adverse event notifications. TGA have been keeping a DANE for a while. Those records have been released to a point. 141,667 COVID vax injuries are listed, 1,050 deaths, including many children. This is by no means a full list of the injuries or deaths that were suffered at the hands of those who forced the jab upon us. Why? Because doctors, nurses, anybody in that position of power who had to fill out a death certificate in the last 5 years has not put it down as a vaccine injury, the death. They'll make many other excuses. Oh, it was heart failure. Oh, he had a headache and had an aneurysm. Had breathing difficulties, respiratory problems, had a heart attack. No, nothing to do with the jab. Now, that's on the doctors who sign those worthless pieces of lies which have been submitted to the TGA. And the TGA says, oh, great, well, we don't have to worry about them because those people didn't die of anything to do with the vax. Well, crap. Absolute crap. I urge you to go to cairnsnews.org and have a look at the TGA DANE report. There is a video halfway down the page, which I think Charles Kovacs put up from his foam group, and there is a lady named Sharon Cousins who has done a very detailed spreadsheet outlining so much detail about the injuries and deaths in Australia from the jab. In fact, around the world, but mostly from Australia. She has evidence of 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 17-year-olds dying within days of getting a jab. Sometimes not within days, sometimes within weeks. She has so much evidence of the deaths of adults. One lady in particular who was hitherto before being injected absolutely healthy, had nothing wrong with her. She died after the jab with 40 different things wrong with her. I think they just started at the A at the start of the alphabet and worked their way through and then went back and had another go. And she's not alone. Not alone. So, why is this happening? Why is the evidence not being allowed to come out? Well, turns out some of that evidence might be starting to come out. And we were talking about a chimeric part in this jab some years ago. They found it.
Literally the first documented direct evidence of genomic integration of mRNA vaccine genetic material. So we found a stage 4 bladder cancer patient. It was a 31-year-old woman, right? So this is a very rare cancer in this age.
That's exactly right. Bladder cancer in a 31-year-old, stage 4 bladder cancer in a 31-year-old woman. We're talking turbo cancers here, folks.
Stage 4 bladder cancer.
Crazy.
Yeah. So she's got this turbo cancer. And so we did some molecular profiling, looked at her circulating tumor DNA, ran some proteomics, what's called multi-omic analysis. So we looked at everything going on, but we identified in the circulating tumor DNA, and the first author of this study is Dr. John Catanzaro of Neo7 Bioscience. In this circulating tumor DNA, in chromosome 19, we identified a chimeric segment of Pfizer Moderna genetic code, part of the spike encoding sequence from the DNA plasmid, was literally integrated in chromosome 19 in a what's called non-safe harbor region.
Hang on. I want to make sure I get this. This was not an encoded DNA from the mRNA. This was a plasmid that had infected or been adulterated in the vaccine. Is that correct?
It appears it is the plasmid because it is a perfect 20-20 base pair match, perfect 20 nucleotide pair match of the Pfizer reference sequence to this sequence in chromosome 19, which is about a 1 in a trillion chance of this being an anomaly. So we do believe it is the DNA residual contamination, part of that sequence. It could be from the mRNA getting in there as well and reverse transcribing. We can't really tell exactly, but because it perfectly matches the plasmid reference sequence published online, that leads us to believe it was from the DNA contamination.
Yeah, so that's some big news to be able to identify that chimeric segment, which is something that was spoken about 2-3 years ago. And I'm pretty confident that Senator Malcolm Roberts, if it wasn't him, it may well have been Senator Rennick when he was a senator, brought that up as well. Of course, our TGA, no idea. So, no, we're not going to tell you. In fact, we're going to lie to you about it, and that's exactly what they did. So, do we think the TGA now are going to just merge into the CDC, or are we going to have two agencies? And if so, well, the CDC, you'd think, will have control. That would be the more powerful agency. The TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, have proven themselves to be absolutely untrustworthy in doing their core job, which is making sure that any medications that come into this country are safe and effective. The TGA was compromised. People in the TGA, particularly the head of it, Skerrick, his name was, I can't think of his first name. He especially needs to be brought forward to a court. Of course, I don't know what good that's going to do us because our courts are no longer Chapter 3 courts. Our courts are appointed by governments, and those who are appointed to sit in the high chair of that court work for the government. They do not work for justice. They do not work for the people. They work for the government. They have been put in that job specifically to rule on the legislation and the laws that the government pass. Nothing else. You do what we want you to. So our courts are captured. We've known the government's captured forever, but the courts are captured. This is the sticking point in every solution. Whether you be talking common law, whether you be talking constitutional law, whether you be talking Murphy's Law, it's all compromised. We cannot fix this until our courts are once again free of governmental coercion, collusion, and interference. How do we get to that point? Well, really, I think we have to have every judge, every magistrate, every justice, Supreme Court, High Court justices step down. We need to have a full and frank evaluation of those people. And should their decisions be questionable, not questioned, but questionable, should there be, and there will be, a lot of evidence that they have colluded to get a result through the court that benefits anybody but us, the people. How do we get those judges to stand down? How do we get the justices to stand down? How do we get the government to stand down? Well, we're all looking for that solution. Personally, I was a bit disappointed in the way Donald Trump spoke about Albanese, but I guess it was a diplomatic meeting at the end of the day. He couldn't very well come out and do to Albanese what we were all hoping. Paul Murray put it pretty well, I think, on Sky News on Sunday night, said that it wasn't ever going to be a Trump-bashing Albanese party, simply because Trump had too much to lose. And that would be the rare earth minerals that Australia has and America needs, because China will no longer sell theirs to the US, at least this week. That could all change. They'll all be buddies again next week, and then the Australian deal will, get lesser and lesser. But apparently one of the big deals with this deal is that not only do we get to dig it out of the ground ourselves, but we also get to do some of the manufacturing involved with these rare earth metals. So I guess, given that unemployment has gone up again through the roof, this is a good thing. There'll be, maybe a couple of hundred people employed to do something nice with that. I'm sure it'll make a big difference to somebody. Mr. Appleton, I saw a post here before, while that thing was playing, about a whole bunch of you bikes on the warboat. Is it a footy trip? And so you're catching up on the Voice of Freedom on the footy trip. Well, here's cheers to you boys. I hope you're having a good trip and everything goes pretty well. Stay away from the edges at night. That's all I'd tell you. I don't know where you are. Boat trip Murray, maybe? Or maybe you're on a lake or something. So I do hope you're enjoying it. And thanks for tuning in while you're on the footy trip. Have a beer for me and look forward to catching up at some time in the not too distant future. There's something has just happened half an hour ago or so in the Senate. Estimates are still continuing. Malcolm Roberts posted something about half an hour ago on the CDC. A case study in avoidance is how he's titled that. I haven't seen the whole video yet, but I urge you to go and check that one out. He is hanging them out to dry. And this is why I think we're going to see the TGA used as a scapegoat. The new CDC will take over all the TGA's shit. And apparently it'll be all new and shiny. And of course, there won't be anybody in the TGA to sue anymore. Remember? So, don't know how that goes. Don't know whether or not you'll be able to go and take the government on after that. But I don't know, Tim. Spoke to a family member of the military this morning. Yeah, we've had a few deaths in the military in the last few days. In the Australian military, there was a 26-year-old fellow inland of Townsville on an exercise, rolled the vehicle he was in. He was the commander of that vehicle, so he was probably hanging out the top of it at the time. And vehicle crashed, rolled, and crushed him by the sounds of it. And by the sounds of it, they've lost a diver in training. It's not unusual, folks, to lose trainees in training in the Defence Forces. They don't try to kill trainees. In fact, they try very hard for them not to get killed. However, accidents at times happen, and they are usually working in a band that is above the level that normal operators would work in safely, or below it, should I say. So that they will push the limits a lot further. They're trained to push the limits a lot further. To give you an example, I used to know some people who flew interesting aircraft and used to fly interesting aircraft with very interesting commando type fellas in the back, based out of Western Australia. Give you an idea. So one of the training exercises that they would do is load up their aircraft with a platoon or a squad or whatever, and they would fly out to sea, not 10 or 15 Ks out to sea. They would fly 150, 200 kilometers out to sea. They would throw a raft out of the aircraft and wait for about, I think it was 25 seconds, 20 to 25 seconds. And then at 10-second intervals after that, individuals would jump out of the plane. Now, bearing in mind, the aircraft's traveling at a pretty rapid clip. This is designed to put you alone in the ocean, having to swim back to the raft and then paddle that raft back to shore. There was more than one raft. Some of these gentlemen don't come back. Some of them die. Some of them drown. Some of them are eaten by sharks. It happens. They try very hard these days not to have too many eaten by sharks or drown, but it happens. These are training exercises, and these people are being pushed to their absolute limit. And of course, those guys have very highly trained medics around them. So it's not like they're left out in the middle of the ocean with no support. However, things do happen. And it's very sad. And if you've lost a loved one serving for Australia, then I feel for you. And my thanks, even though as sad as it can be. All right, I'll go back to my other page now. There are a few other things that I wanted to talk about tonight. Japan is talking about the jab as well. In fact, Japanese scientists have just stated that the jabs have caused the death of 1 billion people in the world so far. They're saying it's a true collapse of the global population. And according to these scientists, the vaccines are slowly but surely reducing the world's population. Scientists, including some of the world's most respected, also claim that international organizations such as the UN, the WHO, along with numerous world governments, are involved in the massive cover-up to hide the full extent and the statistics of the catastrophe that is happening around us. It is waking up all around the world. Thank God. That's our CDC delivering. Yeah, well, we'll wait and see just how well they deliver it, shall we? I do subscribe to this. The unvaccinated didn't spread disease. They spread resistance to fear. And that's why you, me, and the rest of us are dangerous to these people. They need to exercise their level of control over us. And they know they haven't been able to do it through the jab. That's why digital ID is so integral to their plan going forward. Do not, under any circumstances, accept digital ID. Oh, it'll be easier. Bugger it being easier. God didn't put you on this earth to have an easy life. God put you on this earth to learn things, to grow, to mature, to expand. And we've had a lot of that kicked out of us, suppressed out of us, stolen from us. Don't float like the flotsam and jetsam. Be positive, be strong, be confident, and have nothing to do with the bastards. It has always been an IQ test, folks. I've been saying it from the beginning. It has never been about disease. It's been an IQ test. How smart are you really? And unfortunately, many people failed the test. Many people have already failed the digital ID test before they'd even heard the words digital ID together. How? Well, a few years ago, many people around the world got terribly excited to find out who they were, where they came from, what were their origins. And so they applied to somewhere like Ancestry.com to track down who they are. Now, I'm adopted. If I didn't know my biological parents and didn't know my biological history, this might have been something I would look into doing just to see where my blood came from. I know where it came from now, but, and I'll keep that secret for a while, but it would have been something I might have gone to look at. I don't know that I really would have, because it wouldn't have given me access to any, biological relatives or anything like that. So I just, never did it. But many people did. They did it just as oh, how cute will this be, to find out what I'm made up of. I'm part Irish, part English, part Spanish, part Greek, part Italian, part German, part French. I'm a bitzer. You could be. However, if you did sign up to Ancestry.com, you might be a bit concerned. They've just sold a 75% stake of it to Blackstone for $4.7 billion. Ancestry.com, because you gave them your DNA, now have your DNA on file. And it's been sold to BlackRock. What do you think they're going to do with that? Why would BlackRock be interested in your Ancestry.com details? And they're willing to pay $4.7 billion for it. I'd be very concerned if you've signed up to any of these Ancestry type websites, if you have supplied a swab from the inside of your mouth to give them the DNA that they needed. Rest assured, that swab is on file in a vial with your name on it somewhere. And should they ever need to learn all about you, should you ever become a threat to them, all they need to do is go and look at your DNA and find out what you're susceptible to, what your body isn't good at fighting back. And then they give it to you. It's possible. I would say more than possible. I'd say it's probable. So I don't know how you back out of this. There's another website like this that I can't think of the name of, and I think they got into a bit of trouble because they were sharing data. In fact, the Australian government has allowed the CDC, the TGA, and certain other authorities to share your data as well, and make it for sale to other countries, other businesses interested in doing work on this kind of thing. So your DNA is no longer yours, and you have given them a hack to your own body when you provide this stuff. I'm not trying to scare you. I am trying to make you aware that if you have done this sort of thing, then your muted cries about digital ID are probably for naught, because they already have you. You're already on file. All they need to cite from you at some stage to complete it might be your driver's license, right? That's it. They'll have pictures of you. They'll have everything that's possibly needed. So if you were thinking you might like to go and find out what sort of a bitzer I am, don't. You are putting yourself at a massive, massive risk, particularly if you happen to be active in the fight. So don't give them an in, particularly if you're active in the fight. There are a lot of people active in the fight at the moment, and I mean, not like we all know each other, but there, I think, is a very large group, and I saw in the chat somewhere before, do I think there's white hats around? Well, I'm sure there's people wearing hats, put it that way. Yes, I do believe there are white hats around. Yes, I have problems with their methodology at times. However, I'm just one little fat fella sitting in a corner of southeast Queensland, and I don't know the whole picture. So I can't really have a go at them too badly about it. What I do know is that AI is creating all sorts of things for us at the moment that make us second guess everything. Now, this is a transition phase, people. You know, if you scroll through your Facebook feed, now I don't see my Facebook feed. I mean, I don't go on it. I don't do anything. I scroll through it just to see what new shit they're putting in it. I do not see anything from friends of mine. All right. I see nothing. All I get are ads and AI generated content that purports to be news, purports to be a story, purports to be some sort of authority, and it is all lies. All of it. So this transition period where we are now the guinea pigs for AI, there are those of us that are smart enough to spot it, mostly, and there are those that have no idea and don't care. Channel 4 in the UK put an hour-long program to air, I think, on Sunday night that was talking about digital ID and AI and what benefits AI would bring, what problems there were, and what advances and what potential threats there could be from AI being advanced throughout the United Kingdom in every area of your life. And in the last 30 seconds of that program, the presenter, a very good-looking lady who had no doubt been presenting throughout the entire show, revealed that she was an AI construct. That is the future of television. No more stars, no more $600,000 newsreader pay jobs. Nope. We're just going to create an AI head to read it. And we'll capture some bloke's voice or some lady's voice and stick that voice on it. And we won't pay them for that because they were stupid enough to donate their voice to read a book or to do something that let their voice be captured in a fairly big way so that the AI can then generate any word it wants to come out of the AI generated head it creates and the mouth it puts on it. So, folks, if you're not good at picking AI yet, start learning, all right? Don't get stuck in doom scrolls of AI content. It just rots your brain, okay? I have to be very wary of doom scrolling because I sit in front of a computer most of the day and all I'm doing is looking at news, information, listening to shit. And sometimes you wind up just scrolling through and doom scrolling. And I find doom scrolling to be an attack on my soul. So I'm very aware of it these days. I try and limit my time. Well, Facebook's easy to limit. I really only go on there to post something and occasionally have a look if anybody replies. But as I don't see any of anybody else's posts for whatever reason, the algorithm has cut me right out of my friends. And I think I've got 2,500 people or whatever it is attached on my Facebook friends page. I don't see anything from you. Nothing. So that's just what they're doing. Now, I was speaking before about Rachel and how she's been feeling her energy has been a bit zapped over the last couple of weeks. In fact, she's felt quite threatened by it and probably not unreasonably so. I have felt the same thing, particularly in the last month. So I have had some real energy sapping periods this month. I have had some very dark thoughts. I have had a lot of external chatter trying to distract me, and it has, trying to slow me down, trying to misdirect me. This is all me trying to, the energy's coming to me. And I've realized it now because thankfully there are a number of you who've put me in touch with myself, and I'm able to feel these things and do feel these things now quite acutely. That's what made me really sit up and take notice on October the 4th when the first of these pictures came out. First of all, you might think that that is an AI-generated picture. I can assure you it's not. It appears to have a very large bandwidth, and this frequency that is being pushed out is very strong. On the 4th of October, this image was taken, and these, I don't know what you want to call them, waves rolling across the country, were rolling across the country for 9 hours. And then it stopped. And then a couple of days later, it went on again. I think it went on for another 9 hours and then stopped. I believe it's come back on twice since for 4 hours at a time and stopped. What is it? No idea. However, smarter people than me with numbers and maths and the ability to figure out where the center of a circle is have been able to roughly, I say roughly, figure out where that signal, those frequencies, are being broadcast from. And yes, it's Antarctica. But where in Antarctica? Well, it turns out not too far from the pyramid in Antarctica. Now, once, like I say, smarter people than me tried to figure that out. Take it for what it is. I've got no proof, no pictures. I've never been there. But those waves were pushing out from the Forth, and for all I know, are quite likely still pushing out at various times. It did seem that they were for a lesser duration, though, the second time round, and maybe that's just giving us a top-up or whatever. I have noticed a difference in the way I've been feeling, but that could also be because I'm off the property that has been attacking me for the last 18 months. So maybe that's why I feel a bit lighter, I don't know. But it's an interesting proposition that the world is being bathed in high frequency. These are very high frequency waves. And what are they doing? Well, I spoke to somebody who's into this sort of thing, and they said, well, they're probably resetting us, trying to give us an ability to be of broader mind, maybe, or to reset some of the shit that we've been programmed to believe. I wish that was the case. I pray that is the case. But, I mean, at the end of the day, who knows? I do think it is significant, and we'll probably learn more about it in the days and weeks ahead, but keep an eye on it. It's an interesting thing. The other thing you might want to keep an eye on, and this is something President Trump didn't bother telling Albo off about either, Australia has recorded the biggest income decline in the developed world. Our wages are down 5.5% or nearly 5.5%. Norway's below us, Sweden, Iceland, Austria, Italy, Canada, they're all pretty well down, but Australia leads the way. Spain, on the other hand, they're doing all right. So too with Chile. The US are picking up. I wonder why that would be. Could it have anything to do with the new president? I don't know. Just saying. Portugal, Denmark, France, Belgium, Finland, Hungary are all doing better by a mile than Australia. I don't know that German figure is 0.6%. I don't think that's quite right, given the conversations that I'm having with people in Germany. The problems in Germany are horrendous at the moment, folks. There are people children being raped, women being raped, men being raped. There is violence on many streets. Cologne apparently is pretty dangerous. There are other places like Hamburg, which is one of the big German ports, or the biggest German port, I think. That has also got an influx of illegals there that has led to a rise in criminality that Germany has never seen before. Oh, a bit like Victoria, do you think? Speaking of Victoria, state and territory and local governments have no power under the Commonwealth Constitution to enter into a treaty. But here is the statewide treaty bill for Victoria. This was the order for it to be read the second time. Those were all the yeses, there's all the noes, and here is the happy First Nations Council representatives getting presented with the legislation to say, guess what? You're now on the gravy train for fucking life. Pricks. That bitch has to go. God, Victoria. Oh, God. Well, there are some good ideas to get rid of her. In Bendigo, somebody has put out a get rid of your premier bin. That's bloody spectacular. I think they should be put up all over the state. Although, from what I hear, most Victorians are now starting to eye the possibility of leaving Victoria. Many will say, oh, I can't. I've got my house here. My family's here. Your family are suffering too. Why on earth would you allow yourselves to be subjected to this kind of radical bullshit from a government that is more Chinese than Xi Jinping? And here's the latest rock disposal. There's a rock amnesty so that the Aboriginals won't be throwing rocks at the police anymore. Not that Channel 7 reported that way. They reported it that it was the March for Australia folks who were the problem in Melbourne. I think they retracted that eventually. But that was their first. Oh, no, March for Australia. Nothing to do with that. The counter-protest was the problem. A bunch of militant Aboriginals who I don't care for. The same militant group of Aboriginals who had the snot punched out of them by Thomas Sewell and a few of the other boys associated with him after these people came down and were bashing folks coming back from the last March for Australia rally around the Shrine in Melbourne. You remember? Oh, the NSN overran Sovereignty Hill. It's an illegal establishment created on the hill in the gardens there near the Shrine. Illegal. Nothing legal about it. And all leftard, militant, black mafia. The Aboriginal black mafia. The Land Council lovers. They're the ones who started arming up with rocks. They're the ones who were throwing them at police. They're the ones who went there specifically to target the police and to fight their way through the police lines to get to the March for Australia people who were very happily and very peacefully convened at Parliament House in Melbourne. Have there been arrests? No. Because the police on the day allowed these black protesters to wear face masks, to wear hoodies. They didn't call them out. They didn't stop them. They didn't pull them off them. No, because then you might be able to identify them and you might have to do something about it, mightn't you? It's quite clear the Victorian government doesn't want to do anything about it. It's quite clear the Victorian government needs a counter-protest to go up against the likes of March for Australia. It's a sad indictment of the intelligence of the people in that group in Victoria when they are too stupid to understand that marching for Australia means we are marching for them just as much as we are marching for ourselves. The stupid, naive, unintelligent minds running that group do so for the money they get paid by the government to run it. No other reason. They are selling out their own people for money. Greed is good. Well, that was in the 90s. Greed today will get you locked up. Eventually. But as I said at the start of the show, we're going to need to fix the judiciary before we can make that happen. And God knows we need to make it happen. I just think the rock amnesty bin is truly spectacular. Some good news. David Christofouli has finally come up and met one of his election promises. The renewable energy targets in Queensland are dropped. So that's a big thing. And he's also come out with another one in the last day or so too. Another fairly big announcement, and it just escapes me at the moment. I thought I had a picture here for it, but I don't think I do. Yes, I know what it is. Christofouli and the Queensland government today announced, I think, that they are going to put forward a child or a sexual predators register, a sex predator register. It's going to be called Daniel's Law, where every predator will be listed. Now, For the life of me, I don't understand why we don't have a national register for this already that can be tapped into by all and sundry. There has been moves made privately to make that list available. And I think the people who were trying to create it were taken to court and shut down because of privacy reasons. You can't tell people there's a pedophile near them. Why is that, do you think? Because people don't like pedophiles? Well, some do-gooder has probably said, oh, everybody has a right to live. Yes, they've done bad things. They've served their time. Well, look, I'm all for people serving their time, all for people serving their time. But when they come out and commit another crime, similar to the one they did time for, I have much less sympathy for them. I don't know of too many cured pedophiles who've gone to jail and come out cured, if that's the word. They've come out castrated, and that apparently cures it. But chemical castration, I believe, is a voluntary act in Australia for the pedophile. They don't have, the court can't order castration, chemical castration. But it can be offered and is offered through their psychological evaluations and meetings and all that while they're locked up. And it's a way for them to get out of jail. Because you can't raise it, you can't rape with it, in theory. But it is only a theory. And there are a number of people who have got out of jail based in part of time served and chemical castration, their threat to the community diminished, have gone out and they've done exactly the same thing. They just haven't used their old fella to do the raping. They've used whatever they had handy. So I'm afraid I think a child sex predator register should be open to the public. You, as parents, should have the right to know if a pedophile has moved into your street, your suburb, or beside your friggin' kid's school, regardless of their castrated position. Hopefully, in Queensland, this will lead to better understanding, better control displayed by the pedophiles who are on that register. But I don't believe they can control their urges. I've met one. It was everything I could do not to kill it. Everything I could do not to kill it. Listening to it justify its position. There are many people like me who are able to restrain themselves. But thankfully, there are some who can't. And I look forward to the day those bastards meet up, because it will be a good day. England's on the verge of shutting down the World Economic Forum's 15-minute cities, supposedly, after almost all of their in-city cameras were destroyed and 50,000 people refused to pay the fines. Now, the cameras can't be protected if the police refuse to take action. Of course, you know, you can't be on every street when these get cut down. I'm not sure if you're aware of what has been going on in the UK. I think they call them Blade Runners. There is a group, a very large group all over the nation. They've banded together. They come out dressed head to toe, black balaclavas. You might think they'd come from, well, Antifa. Except these guys are working for us. They come along with sawzalls and they cut down the poles with all the security and surveillance cameras, particularly the surveillance, not so much security cameras, but surveillance cameras. They're cutting them down, dropping them. And these are very, very expensive units. So they are costing the government hundreds of thousands of dollars per unit to get them fixed. These units are pretty much destroyed. They smash the cameras when they're down on the ground. So all the cameras have to be replaced. All the wiring has to be replaced. Sometimes they set what's left of the pole on fire, so it melts the cable back down under the road. These guys really know what they're doing. And it's nice to see that some Australians are finally getting in on the act. Roadside cameras. This one had a little accident. It fell over. Now, that one, I dare say, is a pretty solid unit, given that it's on a track. But I have seen plenty of these roadside cameras floating around in Queensland and other places. And it amazes me that they are there. I've only ever seen one of them vandalized. And I know there was a huge push by the police when they introduced them in Queensland and Victoria, these new trailerable ones that they mount on the side of the road in positions and stick internet connection to them, so that the cameras, and they have 4 or 6 or 10 cameras mounted on those units as well, plus the one that actually takes the photo of you speeding. They have that many surveillance cameras on there to stop people, or to be able to identify people walking up to and doing anything to those trailers. Balaclava, anyone? I'm not inciting people to go and do this, but it is interesting to see that in the UK, at least, it appears to be having an effect. Here's an effect for great people all over the world. Apparently, what we need to do to make trans people feel better is have straight people date them. Sorry. Just NASA. Much better subject. NASA are in panic. Why are they in panic? Well, maybe they're figuring out that the world has found out NASA stands for not a space agency. There is a few interesting things happening with 3I Atlas. It's slowing down. Not something meteors are known to do, generally, or comets for that matter. Mind you, this thing hasn't displayed any kind of comet-like feature since we were hearing about it, and it still isn't. But apparently, it's slowing down. So it's come around Mars. It's somewhere between Mars and Earth at the moment. And we're expecting it in viewable range of Earth early December. I didn't think it would take a month traveling at the speed it is to get here, but space is a big place. But at any rate, early December, 3I Atlas is meant to be just zooming past us, about 19 million kilometers off the planet's surface. That's very close, very, very close. That was its projected plan, but if it is slowing down, then its plot will change direction, in theory. And why is it slowing down? To take a better look at our moon, maybe on the way past, or resupply it. And I don't mean with moon landers and that sort of stuff. Anything's possible, I guess, isn't it? But keep an eye on the skies, folks, because that 3I Atlas is going to prove over the next, well, I think through November, we're likely to get a lot more news on that. It's going to be an interesting, very interesting time. All right, folks. Oh, shit, I've rolled over an hour tonight. I might love you and leave you. Rachel's in the chat. So, folks, if you do have any hints, thoughts, or tips on acupuncture for Rachel, please either get them into the chat while the show's still going, or reach out to me, carl@vofhq.com, and I will pass your details on to Rachel, and I'm sure she will be in touch. What else did I want to mention? Help us out with the lottery, $2. That's all it is, $2 a ticket. Win yourself $750. And if you don't win that, maybe you'll pick up the ounce of Byron Bobs that we're giving away as well. We're trying to get to a point where we can give away a bit more gold. We've got, like I say, a bit under 130 tickets left in this lottery, and I think I've convinced Vince to let me do it in the next one. So hopefully when we knock this one over, we'll have some gold up for grabs, which last time, interestingly, we put a gram of gold up for this particular raffle. It was worth about 200 and $19 or something like that, I want to say. I don't know what a gram bar is worth today. It's worth a bit less than it was a couple of days ago. But it's still worth a shitload more than the first one we put up from memory. So keep an eye out, folks. That gram of gold could be coming into your kick in our next lottery. But to get to the next lottery, we've got to finish this one. So only $2 a ticket. If you can please help us out, that will go a little bit to help us pay our expenses, but it'll also go on and help a little bit to help Sandy and Baz's expenses at the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary, where, as you saw in the chat tonight, she's picking up another 3 next week, which will make 108 donkeys on the property. I urge you to go to the Facebook page. I am seeing the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary posts, or I saw one today. They've got a couple of young teenage donkeys there down there, boys. And boys will be boys. Go and have a look at the video. Very cute. All right, folks, love you and leave you tonight. Have yourself a great night. And I know there's been a lot of heavy stuff in the chat tonight. Don't be too put off by it. Don't be too upset by it. We always knew what the bastards were doing with the jabs, and now it appears that there are good people in the world showing that truth, and now we need to find a way that the judiciary get behind it. Well, not just it. We've got to find a way to get the judiciary back to the people, back to being independent, back to being fair. It's a big ask. Be safe, folks, if you're on the roads. Today, horrendous day. I had to go down the Gold Coast today. Somebody was involved in an accident south of where I was going, way south of where I was going. The traffic was back about 14 kilometres at one stage. There are dickheads everywhere, folks. Don't be one, and pray for those that are, because some of them don't survive. Talk to you tomorrow night.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!